I'm really excited to say that I'm finally leaving this potato of a phone. Hello. So I'm re-recording this because the last footage I recorded was my old potato of an iPhone, and the audio is absolutely god awful. It sounds like it's been through a washing machine.
Hello, hello. It's Tuesday. I'm out and about again.
I think Des is our video editor is going to put this up on screen now. You can kind of see where I am at. I'm at Campfield. I'm talking about the AOI event that we've got coming up. So I've been working with AOI for a couple of years now, and I've been working with the team at Drawn In, co-hosting a lot of networking events for illustrators. We've got one coming up in April at Campfield. The idea is we're going to do something called speed networking. So we're going to work with one of my good mates, Dan, who goes by the alias of Mr. TDC, I think, on Instagram. He does some really beautiful illustration work. He's the sort of head honcho of design at Holdings as well, and just a fantastic creative force and networking force as well. So essentially, he's going to be running a networking event for us, talking about the power of networking and why that's so important, especially in today's age. And also, he's going to be doing something called speed networking. So what we're going to be doing for that is getting massive long tables, getting illustrators opposite each other, doing some speed portraits of one another, and then every couple of minutes we're going to kind of move along. The idea of this is literally like speed networking. So you're going to have that conversation and that chat with another illustrator, but also you've got the element of, learning maybe some new skills along the way. So should be really, really good. After that, I kind of started delving into a little bit of what's going on at AG. So obviously I'm talking to you in the future right now, and at the time it was just before I went on my trip to Berlin. So that week we had an ungodly amount of pitches in. We had a big place branding pitch in that got sent off that we're still waiting to hear back from now. We have a big pitch for a pretty monumental site in Manchester. I can't say too much more on that at the moment, but if all goes to plan, I definitely can do. So there is that. And then there's been a few other pitches as well, but it was very much with our designer Esme being out at the time. It was very much me being hands-on back on the tools and kind of stepping away from the sort of sales side into that. So
one thing I wanted to quickly talk about though is a video I saw from a channel called Chon Digital that's all about the slopification of branding, but I prefer to call it something called blanding. So that's just where all these brands at the moment, especially the bigger players, they're just melding into each other. Just this week we had a client that we've just done some branding for, and we had an icon that went alongside the brand, and they fed back saying, oh, well, not many logos in our space have icons. In our sector, it's more word marks. And for me, that was exactly the reason that they should have an icon, because instantly when you're on that page with all the other competitors, you have that instant point of difference that helps you stand out. Like if you're a word mark alongside all the other word marks, you just blend in. It's just whoever's got the nicest word mark that stands out. I think we talked about this a little bit at the Stanley Cups last week, I think it was, and just about how, when the Stanley Cup thing happened on social, where Stanley had that cup that survived a big car explosion, and there's a big social media storm around it. Other brands copying that just would cause more attention to go to Stanley than themselves. And I think across all social at the moment, if you look at like any brand really, it all just looks the same across every single social. It's people focused, it's doing little tiny hooks and stuff like that, and it all's the same layout, same hook, same pacing, same tone, and it's all just blurring together. Like I could put a few examples of some Instagrams on the screen now of their main Instagram pages, and can you actually tell the difference between them? You probably can't. And the issue with all this is that every brand now is following what performs rather over like what resonates. The Stanley Cup thing didn't kind of win social media because it was designed to perform. It won because it was a human thing that happened, and it was a human story, and it told a story that really connected. And that's what was so important in the sort of grand scheme of things, And that kind of all goes into the biggest thing of all, which is obviously the rise in AI content. It just feels like speed has replaced craft, really. We're focusing on churning out more content quickly, rather than actually focusing on if it performs or delivers. And because of this, it's actually starting to cheapen brands. I showed just a second ago the Instagrams that all look kind of the same, but it's kind of across the all point of content at the moment that brands are putting out. This idea of doing things quickly and fast and just getting content out there is actually just doing more brand damage than good. You're just looking like a cheaper brand because you're relying on AI and stuff. And I think, there's this talk about the AI bubble at the moment that's going to pop, and how 95% of AI startups have actually not earned any profit. And I think it's because AI, unfortunately, has been so plastered everywhere and so utilized everywhere, and people have seen it as such a replacement for things rather than a tool to benefit, that now it's become kind of something that's just cheapened things. I got a tablet before, so I've just got a new iPhone, so honestly I'm really buzzing for this, and I'll put a little video of me unboxing the iPhone or something, but I'm buzzing for this because my camera on this phone looks a bit like a potato, and I can't wait to have a good camera. But we opened this tablet just before, and I'm not even joking, on the back of this tablet it literally had the camera, and next to the camera it said AI camera. I'm like, well, to me now, that's not a seal of quality, that's not a seal of approval, that's not a seal of growth or anything. If anything, I'm kind of a bit like, AI camera, that feels like it's a quick fix, it's going to cheapen it. Am I going to take a photo and have a sixth finger? There's so many negative connotations with it that it's actually more brand damaging now than ever. I think that's why, Claude, for example, in the most recent Super Bowl ad, they didn't call themselves Claude AI anymore, they call themselves Claude. They're trying to distance from the word AI and focus on them being a tool, and that's kind of what's needed at the moment. So blanding across the board. What I've talked about here is just about how all social is blanding into each other, logos are doing the same thing. It's just all looking the same. We had a client as well that got in touch who said they'd used a software called Softriver, because it was, I'm not a big fan of Softriver's kind of approach to the marketing, where they're just kind of like just saying, branding agencies are ripping you off. When actually, I've had a client get in touch recently saying quite the opposite. They've said that they went through 9 iterations of Softriver, couldn't get what they wanted. They came to us and we got it done first time. Now, in terms of speed of that, obviously, we probably took around similar-ish time to get to the logo as the AI Softriver did. And they took 9 attempts to get that remotely close to what they wanted, and it still wasn't right, and it still felt like it needed loads of work. And when we saw it, half of the logo was like janky, and it looked like it'd been live traced on Illustrator a few times. It just wasn't good, and it wasn't what they were after. And then they came to us, and we were able to deliver the logo first time that just ticked all the boxes. We did a speedier approach to our normal brand strategy and how we kind of work things, just because they needed the logo quickly and they needed to get their brand out there, but we nailed it first time. And I think that's the thing now, is that we're starting to see a real shift towards craft and time being a good thing, I don't know why it's become not a good thing. If you go to a restaurant and your food comes instantly, it's seen as a bad thing, isn't it? Like if you go to, like a Nando's and you put your order in and 2 minutes later your food's on the table, you question it. You're like, I'm not sure the quality's there because it took so little time. And I think people are starting to come around to this with AI now, that just because AI can do things quickly doesn't mean it's good. And if you put that out there, that element of cheapness and lack of quality can really reflect badly on your brand. Just some thoughts there.
Hello, it's Thursday, and I'm really excited to say that I'm finally leaving this potato of the phone. Thanks for bearing with the low quality footage and microphones and everything like that for the past few weeks whilst I've been getting this started. I've got the newest iPhone 17. It's very nice. It's really, really nice. It's also, I got it in that cosmic orange as well, because the new AG branding is going to be in cosmic orange as well. I'm vibing on orange, to be honest, at the moment. So yeah, it was interesting though, from buying the phone. I went to get the phone I was looking at the phone in November and it was like 80 quid, and now it's gone down to £55 for the same phone, and then we randomly got a free tablet with it, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but here we are. I wonder I think there's something in that with Apple's marketing strategy, in that they kind of come in with all these new features and they make such a big noise about the phone when it first comes out, and everyone just gets absolutely sucked into it and buys it at that high price point. But then it's crazy that kind of within a few months, it drastically drops down. There's something in that sort of hype marketing, and Apple do it very well, do it really well. And all the Apple fanboys, myself included, get drawn into the hype as well. So yeah, just an interesting tidbit. I've also got some microphones coming as well that I'm going to show you guys. And yeah, we're really starting to level up this vlog a little bit. Okay, wow, that is dramatically better quality. Jesus, you can see every single wrinkle. Let's do the dog test. Let's see. Oh, there we go. You can see all the grubbiness of my dog. There she is. This is Rudy, everybody. This is the anti-gravity dog. She's chaos, to be honest. I adore her, but she's the most ungranny-like Westie. You know, like Westies are seen as like granny dogs. She's like the opposite of a granny dog. She's absolutely wild and pure chaos, but she keeps things interesting, don't you? And as promised, we've got the new microphone too. This is recommended by a friend of mine who works in social media. She said these are great. So these are newer KM15. Look at that, they have this nice little like snapping case. It feels like a little bit like AirPods. Really nice. I've got a new microphone, so I'm going to try that out. You can clip onto people, so we can hopefully get both of them working so that we can actually have conversations with people as well, which is sick. And it comes in this nice little bag as well. So yeah, on the way up. So yes, I wanted to catch with you guys a little bit on this week. I filmed in Campfield on Tuesday and did a lot of talk about brand and stuff there, but I thought I'd fill you in on just kind of what's been going on in the studio. It's been a bit of a mad week, really. We're a designer down. So our designer Esme is on holiday, and unfortunately my partner's been in and out of hospital at the start of this week. So it's been a bit manic. It's been a lot of juggling. She's fine, but yeah, it's been a lot, and we've had a lot of pitch work in, and yesterday was pretty much locked in on sorting out a pitch, which I'm really excited for. And also, I think I might have mentioned before, I'm work as part of a startup. So there's a startup I branded about a year ago, actually, or I think a year ago the work commenced, but we did this branding for a really interesting startup, and part of that process they invited me along with them on the journey as a sort of sales director, running the operation and helping market it and bring it to market. So I've got some vested interest in that, and I kind of catch up with the development teams on that weekly. So I had a big meeting about that. That's really going really great, actually. The roadmap that I've set out for it and the plans I've put in place are really coming into motion now. We're hoping to be launched by, well, for the demo to be ready by mid-March. So I'm working towards that. But other than that, I'm actually off to Berlin tomorrow. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, if my partner's feeling well enough, which I'm really excited for. It should be a really good trip. I've not been to Berlin since I was maybe in college, I think I went. So I've just put a post up on LinkedIn asking for recommendations. I think this video will probably be up by the time I've gone and come back. But if you do have any recommendations, drop them out in the comments, and you never know, I might go back and visit. I've had some interesting responses on LinkedIn for some people actually in Berlin who wanted to meet up, which is fun. So who knows, I might jump down and do a trip. I'm pretty sure flights are probably cheaper than getting a train down to London these days, so who knows. But yeah, I think what I'll probably do is round off the week tomorrow when I'm in Berlin and do it from sort of a coffee shop or something. And I'm going to do a lot like shots of Berlin so you guys can see that. Have a little bit of a difference of a vlog this week. But obviously one thing I talked about as well was the whole, talking about the wins and losses at the moment. At the moment, to be honest, guys, we're just doing a lot of pitching. There's a lot of pitching, a lot of sort of niggly projects that we're kind of, chopping away at, which is really good. Naturally, we're trying really hard to get the anti-gravity brand to a good spot where we can finally launch it. But as is ever the case with running in a studio, your own work always goes in the back burner and client work takes priority. It's always a good thing, I suppose, if you're too busy to get to your own work. But it's like a niggling thing of when I'm going to get, new work and talking to new prospects and clients. I want us to visually look the part of what we're saying. So I'm trying to forge out some time for that. And I think I should be getting some more time back after we've gone through some of these exciting pitches next. In terms of everything else though, and the channel. So by the time you're seeing this, the first video has gone up. I got 12 subscribers, which is pretty good. I'm really happy about that. Sounds small, but you've got to start small, haven't you? It's nice that 12 people are kind of tuning in and watching, and hopefully we just get some growth from there. like I say, my goal with all this was never to sort of become a YouTuber or anything like that, more just to share my story and share weekly progress of growing the studio and business, and in hopes that it resonates with someone out there who's doing the same thing. Like I say, I'm doing this because I wanted something like this. There's so many questions, and how things are organized and just how to do it all that is kind of out there, but I think a lot of it's covered in mist. So I'm hoping that this real version of what we're doing and how we're growing helps. I think one thing that might be good is, I might do a Q&A and just see what questions people want answering as well, that I can sort of speak about on here. But yeah, next time I see you, I'll be in Berlin. See you then.